What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the World XP podcast. If you want to hear the second half of this conversation with Moustapha, head over to the World XP Soccer channel, link down below in the description. Thanks for tuning in to the World XP podcast. If you're enjoying the content, please drop a sub, drop a like, and let us know your thoughts below in the comments. Also, please consider supporting our podcast via the link below. It really helps us out. Moustapha, welcome to the World XP podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Eric.
Yeah, for sure. So, background into this guy, we went to high school together, and for those that have seen the episodes with John Markle, I call him the resident sports writer for the podcast, even though we just make it up. The three of us have a group chat, and all we do is talk about sports, and I figured it was a long time coming to get the other one, the third member of the group chat, on the podcast. Here he is. How you doing, dude?
I'm well. Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming. Happy to talk soccer, sports, and anything in between.
Yeah, for sure. So let's start MLS first because that's in our backyard. We're going to DC United game this Saturday. I think they're playing. Who are they? I don't. Oh,
Philly.
Philly, because John, of course, is a Philly fan, and he will show up wearing Philly gear, and we are going to pretend to not know him.
Well, exactly.
When we're there.
Exactly. when the beers come pelting down from the stands.
I'm running for cover. So as of the time of recording this, last night, Miami was playing Cincinnati in the Open Cup, and they came back from 2-0 down to win on penalties. What are your thoughts? I guess what are your thoughts on Messi generally? Just like his move to MLS, what it means for the league. I've had people asking me if it's bad for the league because he's too good, or if it's good for the league because he's here, and all. Like, what are your thoughts?
It's definitely good for the league if you have somebody of Messi's caliber that has won it all on the international and even the league stage. Has been at Barcelona since he was 10 years old, incubated through that system. You know, you can say what you will about La Liga and Messi never playing in the Prem, but he's won Champions League, played with some of the greatest players in the world. So him coming to Miami and MLS, as much as it is, you know, his swan song, if you will, you can see tangibly how he's raised the level of not just MLS ticket sales, jersey sales, but the players around him who are mostly lower level players, you know, with all due respect to them, except a couple others who've played, like Yedlin having played in the Premier League. But he's raised the level. You can say he walks on the pitch, but he knows when to turn it on like that. Messi's a magician. The GOAT debate is settled. I don't care what anybody says about Messi, Ronaldo. It's Messi. He's on his way to win, I believe, his eighth Ballon d'Or, well deserved, and he's just that guy. As short as he is, he just maneuvers around the pitch, raises everyone's level, and is a captain without just, you know, not a vocal captain, but he leads on the pitch with his actions for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like people saying, "Oh, could it be bad for the league?" And I was like, I see no downsides. There's no downsides. Like the only potential downside that there could be is in 2 or 3 years, there's going to be a Messi-sized hole in the league when he retires. But it's like,
Right.
like that would happen anyways, anywhere he goes. People are like, well, he's scoring too much. It's like, no, he did this to La Liga he did this to La Liga for 15 years or however long it was.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I see no downsides. And also to me, he just looks happier than he did in Paris. I don't know
That's
to
a
you
key.
if yeah, he just looks
Definitely.
happier. Like he brought his friends with him, Busquets and Jordi
Yes.
Alba,
Yeah.
and
hmm
man is just living his best life, dude. That's living in Miami. Like, what else do you
hmm
want?
and getting the TV deal share from Apple and I believe from Adidas kit sales. So he, you know, he's living. And at 36 years old, he won the World Cup. What else does he need to win? He's won Champions League. He's won Club World Cups. He's won gold medals. He's just let him coast if you want to call it coasting. But he's producing. He has, I believe, 9 goals and 2 assists last night. You know, he didn't score last night, but two beautiful Messi-like assists that
Yeah.
set them up to win in penalties. So,
Were you watching the game live? Do you hear Ray Hudson's commentary? He doesn't pull rabbits out
yeah.
of his magic hat. He pulls
Yes.
kangaroos. I was like, yo, what are you
Yes.
talking about, man?
No, I know I didn't understand half of it, but his commentary was so good, especially with the handball that wasn't, you know, his commentary.
Yeah.
He's just a great commentator. I'm of the mindset that American commenters are horrible, but hey,
I
don't
don't
come
know.
for me.
No, they're not all horrible. No, I think Stu Holden
Hey,
does I think Stu Holden does all right.
eh, Yeah, Taylor Twellman, Stu Holden, yeah, and then Ian Dark, but Ian Dark's British, I believe,
Yeah,
originally.
no, but Taylor
Actually,
Twellman is
Stu Holden's not. He's not American. I don't believe. He's something. But he's not
he played
American.
well, he played for the US national team.
So do many Mexicans.
I don't know. Well, he doesn't have an accent, so I
Yeah,
don't know. But no, I think Stu Holden's good. Taylor Twellman is decent as well. I don't mind either of them. Some of the MLS
yeah,
ones are different, but the ones that
yeah,
ESPN has are good, I think.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. And then obviously then they've got the ESPN FC crew running around. Do you watch ESPN FC much?
Yes, yes. Craig Burley's grumpy Chelsea self.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I don't know anybody else that watches that show, so it's good to hear that somebody else watches it.
Oh, for sure.
Dan Thomas might be one of the best hosts at keeping
Yeah,
that energy alive. Like the chemistry they have is crazy. But
absolutely.
when Don Hutchison and Robson comment
Hmm.
do color commentary, I think they're both very good as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that whole crew, like to have a dedicated soccer specific show separate from the mainstream Sports Center ESPN programming that doesn't really cover soccer in the States is good. Again, if we're talking about raising that level, raising that awareness and getting more people not just psyched for the Club World Cup in 25, but also the World Cup that we're, co-hosting as well to get to drive that momentum and the swell of, soccer to make it crack to the top, even
Yeah.
if it's fourth on the level, it'd be good.
When is Copa America? Is this when is it? This next summer?
Yes, Copa America, and then they're doing the Club World Cup in 25, and then obviously the World Cup.
Oh, it's going to be a big couple of years for U.S. soccer. Let's hope that they don't screw it up. The federation, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
that's a whole thing.
I'm sure they'll find a way to do so. But other news, U.S. soccer, Pulisic scored last weekend on his debut for Milan, so that's good news.
Right.
I'm hoping that him and Yunus Musa find regular first team playing time there.
Of course.
Um,
And everyone's already saying, how we ruined him at Chelsea. And again, I think it's only half the picture of like, he has a lot of injuries. He may not get them for the national team, and yes, he shows up for the national team, but Chelsea is a whole different animal. You have so many other players that are better than him on there, and he's the man right now. He's the man for the national team, and so it's easy to, you're starting every game, you're getting that minutes, that confidence
let's go on that though. How many players were actually better than him when he was there?
at
Because
Chelsea.
yeah, yeah,
I,
in his positions.
okay, so if you're talking about in this position, I mean, if you're sitting and
Like we'll go with the Conte Tuchel system, the 3-4-2-1. Those two
all right,
behind the striker. Who is actually better than him? And I don't say this. I
mhm.
don't mean to say that he was the best of the lot, but I can't think of one that was head and shoulders above him. And
I
so
will say that Ziyech was better than him. I
but
know
he played less than he played less than Pulisic. So like
that,
to your point, like Pulisic, I don't know if he was the best, but I also don't think he got a uh fair like chance, right? He would go in for
mhm,
one or two games, then he'd score, and then
right.
he'd be on the bench again, right? Because they've got such a big squad, because you guys have such a big
Hmm.
squad, you had to do squad rotation. So I don't yeah, sure he was hurt, but then you pop him in, he scores against Real Madrid, and then like
Right,
he's benched the next game. It's like what is going
right.
on there? So I don't right part obviously he had the injuries for sure, but
Absolutely.
I also think that if he had just been given a run like an
Hmm.
actual run of games, and I don't mean like 5 games, I mean like 15 to 20 games, that he would have come good because when he played he scored. That's the thing
But
as well.
was
Like
he even healthy for 15 to 20 games in a row?
well we never knew because he never played.
Yeah, I mean, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. I'll say this again. That's a consequence of having such a bloated squad. You have different personalities, and Christian not necessarily being one that maybe would rile and rock the boat, and go to the manager's office for complaining for minutes. That may also have played into it. But yeah, he
Yeah,
had some good moments for us, especially that you mentioned Madrid in our lead up to winning the Champions League a few seasons back. So I'll
yeah.
miss him. I'll miss him.
Yeah, for
Hey,
sure. Like, and I don't like again, this is not mean like I'm not gonna say he's the greatest thing since sliced bread at Chelsea, right? But I don't I don't think it's unfair to say that you guys didn't do well by him. Like
Yeah.
I
So
don't think that's an unfair assessment. I don't think that he's not completely absolved of all responsibility.
right.
But to say that, like, I think saying that you guys ruined him is more fair than saying he was injured, if that makes sense.
Wait, I'd have to go back and look at the numbers of games actually played. I think he was there for 6 seasons, and with he was back when even Willian was there, and you can argue Willian was better than Pulisic.
Yeah, he probably was. He
So I
probably was
mean,
at the time because when he went over there when he was what, 19?
yeah, yeah.
So like so if you're gonna
Hmm.
buy a young player and you want him to develop and then you don't give him game time,
You
like what
loan
do
him.
you yeah, well they didn't do that either.
Yeah, well,
He was in that tweener stage where he was good enough
right.
to like get into the first team, but not quite good enough to be a full-time starter. So he was good enough that they didn't want to loan him, but then
Hmm.
he wasn't good enough to be starting every week. And
Right.
that's a tough situation to be in. You'd almost rather him be like a half step below, so they loaned him out and he was playing week in, week out somewhere else. Um,
Absolutely.
I don't know.
And that's the case with a lot of U.S. players. You see, Matt Turner just got. I guess his was a permanent move just to get minutes. Zach stepping before him, loaned out to get minutes. A
Mhm.
lot of these U.S. stars who aren't first team talents, have to do that just to get game time. And
Yeah,
Pulisic, made the move that was right for him.
yeah, I think he did because I think he's a Champions League level player level talent. I think,
We,
anyways.
week in, week out.
Yeah, so we'll see how he goes with Milan. But Turner, I think that's a good move for him. He's still in the
Absolutely.
Prem. He's going to face a lot of shots, right? He's playing for a team that's going to be towards the bottom of the table. So in
Hmm.
terms of him being sharp for the next couple of years, if he I don't know how long his contract was, but that's a
Right.
good move for him in my opinion.
Hmm.
Musa, I don't know if he was playing all that much at Valencia off the top of my head. I don't
Right.
know. Was he?
I think he last I saw he was injured, but he was a regular rotation player. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um
I do have to
and
ask this though,
yeah,
since we're
yeah.
on the subject of Turner. This came up last night. In fact, given their Leagues Cup recent win and they're vying for a championship now in about 2-3 weeks' time, Drake Callender challenging Matt Turner. That's been a hot topic for the one.
I haven't seen enough of him to say one way or the other. Like that to me feels like a gut reaction. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, he saved a couple pens. Nice. Like
Right.
I don't know. Um, like saving pens is great, but the whole pack, like I don't know how good he is with his feet. I don't know how good he is
Right.
like handling and with his one on ones and all the other things that you would need at that level. So I don't know. Maybe as one to watch. I'll keep an eye on him because I don't even know who else would be in the pool because it seems like Stefan has kind of fallen out of it.
I mean, you never know with Greg Berhalter back. You never know. He didn't take him to the World Cup. They may mend things over, but there's a couple of young goalkeepers that Chelsea has. There's Gaga Slonina. He's also
Yeah,
been loaned
Slonina,
out.
and Horvath as well as the other one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking Brad Guzan's done. I don't know. You never know for sure, but
Guzan, I think Guzan's done. He's just like 87 years old. He's not he's not coming back.
yeah,
Let's see other national team news. Oh, Tyler Adams went to Bournemouth, didn't he?
he did. Chelsea deal collapse. I actually, I gotta tell you, I actually when I saw that I was happy, but then when they made room to get Caicedo and Romeo Leyva, I was like, okay, good. We have a nice young core to set us up for the next 10 years, and we could lose Adams. He's a more of a defensive minded guy. We need goals. We struggled to score goals last season. So
Well, yeah, you need
yeah.
a striker. You got one training with the kids right now, Lukaku, pop
Oh
him in the lineup
no, no.
because all I see right now is you guys in 15th right now. So,
We look, it's season's still young. Season's still young. So I mean, hey, I'll tell you much. We're building for the future. We've got a great. I think we've got the best midfield in the Premier League. I'm thinking if you're looking at top six, I think so. As young as they may be, talented individually, commanded great fees. I'll argue we overpaid on both Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo. But again,
and Lavia, I think you paid on overpaid on all three, to be honest.
I haven't seen enough of him. I can't speak. He was at Southampton. They're perennially relegated, so I don't follow Southampton football. But hey, if Liverpool was bidding for him, I have to imagine because they have a decent midfield the past seasons as well. So you have to imagine he's decent.
Yeah, Liverpool likes a bargain though, no? So like they ended up with Endo for 18, 16 or 18 mil or whatever. And
Hmm.
he might, I don't know. I feel like that's a good sign. I think they went in for somebody else, I think today.
Today, I haven't caught up with the news,
I don't know.
but
You
yeah,
see City's gonna sign Mateus Nunez from Wolves.
I saw that. I saw they need and Wolves needs to get a good fee. It has to be 50 plus mil for
I
that,
think
you
I
know.
think it is. Did you watch the United Wolves game, the first in week one?
Yes, yes, I
Wolves
did.
looked really good, man.
They look
Wolves looked
so
really
good.
good.
I
They just couldn't
Yeah,
score.
yeah. That was
Um,
the
yep.
Onana pen one.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Mateus Cunha looked really good as well that game. He's
Hmm.
a problem. I would not want to mark him in midfield, dude, because he can
Yeah,
turn you both ways and he's so strong and fast that he just gets away from you. It's like it's a nightmare to deal with players like
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and I saw their second game too, like I believe against Brighton. And although they got demolished, I think the in-game substitutions their manager made with Kim Ki-hee, who should be a starter. He should be starting. I personally think because when he came on, he scored, I believe, their only goal that they had in that match. So
yeah, so Brighton are looking good, right? They lose McAllister and Caicedo, and they're sitting
yeah,
top. They're sitting top of the table right now,
did
dude.
not see that. Did not see that coming.
Dude, Matoma's dude. He's so good, and
He's so good.
Ferguson as well is gonna be a
Hmm.
baller.
Sonny
Um,
Marsh. They have a lot of great players. A lot of
yeah,
great.
and they'll find some kid in Uruguay somewhere or whatever, and get him for 3 mil and sell him for
Hmm.
whatever. Like the recruiting department. I was listening to I don't remember if it was a podcast or what it was, but
Hmm.
a recruiting guy at Arsenal I think said all the rest of the Prem is like 2 3 years away from where Brighton is in terms of their network.
Hmm.
Which is way better than where DC United is, where Wayne Rooney is looking at Football Manager. So it's
No, Brighton is good. You thought when they let go of Graham Potter that they'd just fall off a cliff, but they've made masterful sales, bringing in a lot of money. They've yet to really invest that money, so we're going to see as the transfer windows open up, the successive ones, what they do with it. But I don't foresee Matoma being around much longer with his
no,
performances now.
probably January. You think he'll be gone? You think there'll be some? I feel like I don't know. I feel like it'll be at the end of this season. I don't
The
know.
end of the season.
January seems a little soon, but also if like I don't know if Diaz and Gakpo get hurt or whatever,
No, no, because
and
Liverpool doesn't
Liverpool.
have 100 million to spare.
All right,
They do.
well, fine. Insert other club with wingers.
Yeah, I mean, look, hey, Chelsea, Real Madrid, those types of players that'll go and produce and have the money to do it. Let's see, but I don't
PSG.
know. No, PSG will ruin him.
PSG's
Did,
a
did,
mess.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We can talk about PSG too, but my Premier League top four as of right now, we got City, Arsenal.
You're talking for the end of the season.
Yeah, City,
Is this
Arsenal.
in order?
Yes, in order: City, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Chelsea. I got to rep my Chelsea blue. I think they'll figure it out. Season's still young. They have a lot of young players. They need to, a couple games here or there. There are going to be some mistakes. I think
Who
when are we
who
fifth?
you who you go 5 and 6?
This was tough. I put as of right now. I put it Man United, Liverpool, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Brighton instead of Man United. If Brighton can keep this up, they're young. They have young legs. You never know.
What do you think about Aston Villa?
I just think their keeper's been poor. He's been poor.
Who is their keeper? I don't even know.
Martinez from Argentina.
Oh, Emi Martinez. Oh, duh.
But he's been
Did he
poor.
just not have a good start to the season?
No, no. I think
Mm,
they're leaking goals. I think they have Ashley Young is old on their back line.
Ashley Young plays for he's playing for Everton. He moved this summer.
He moved? Okay, good catch
Yeah.
there. Yeah, but I
Um
don't know. I don't
I
know.
know
It's
Mings got hurt in the first week,
hmm
but the attack though is I think Did they sign Zaniolo, Nicola Zaniolo from Fenerbahce? I think they did.
I I don't think it went through yet because he hasn't played for them.
No, I
Let's
know. I
see.
think it was slated to go through soon. Let me see if he's on their
Let's
squad list
see.
somewhere. Yeah, he is. He's listed on their squad list.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, their attack is kind of their attack. Well, and then even with Mings going down, right? Their
Hmm.
starting center back pairing now is Diego Carlos and Pau Torres, which is like
Yeah,
to me
yeah.
is more than good enough,
Yeah, and Pau Torres was
honestly.
so good in La Liga, so good. So you can
Yeah.
tell the connection with Unai Emery and bringing him over. So,
Yeah. The midfield, Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, Tielemans. I know Buendia's hurt, but
hmm.
they still have what's his name? Jacob Ramsey as well. Like
Right.
they've got and then Coutinho, Bailey, Musa Diaby, Zaniolo, like oh,
Hmm.
and of course Boubacar Kamara as well as another defensive midfielder. Dude, they're stacked, man.
Yeah.
They've got a good team,
So where do you put
honestly.
them? Where do you put them on the ladder?
See, I don't know, right? Because I think what'll happen probably is City and Arsenal. I think I agree with that as a top two.
Hmm.
Newcastle, I think, will be a little bit better than they were last year, but I think
Right.
Liverpool will. I think Liverpool will also. I swear that they were going to sign somebody.
But there's talk of Salah may leave for Saudis. That's why I didn't put them in top four. Because if that happens, no chance of top four.
Why do you think? Why do you think that?
There's rumors that Fabrizio, it's
No, no, no,
everywhere.
not that Salah will leave, but
Oh,
why do you think they won't be able to cope?
because they lost so much in their midfield. They're just now rebuilding that. They have so many new players coming in from Gakpo who really did not, impress me personally. I know he was a mid-season, acquiring, but he didn't do much last season. It's a new season. He can produce. You have Nunez, you have, Samikas,
I disagree. I think Gakpo did all right, to be
okay,
honest.
did
But
he?
in terms of a forward positions, I think if Salah leaves, you got Soboslai, Nunez,
Hmm.
um, Diaz, Gakpo, Harvey Elliott that you can put over there.
Hmm.
Um, who am I missing?
But are you going to get the same production of 25 goals a season? Though? Probably not.
No, but it might be close, right? Diaz, they didn't have Diaz for the entire second half of last year.
Right.
He's got 2 goals in 2 games. So that's a
Hmm.
new oh, Jota's the other one. Like
Yeah.
so I think I'm going to Fabrizio's Twitter right now, but I think
Right.
obviously nobody wants to lose um Mo Salah.
Right.
Obviously. But I think if
Hmm.
they were going to lose a player, right? If they lost Van Dyke, like that's totally different. And Van Dyke hasn't even been that good.
But
So,
they also never really recovered from losing Sadio Mane.
well, I think that was a function of the midfield, to be totally honest. It wasn't, it was a function of the midfield. And another thing that I heard though, right? Because he was hurt all of last year with Bayern, and then Bayern was
Hmm.
like, nah. So I think what happened was so when you do transfers and you do the medical testing as the players,
Hmm.
the tests are so extensive
Hmm.
that that's how long they'll offer a contract for, right? People
Right.
ask why they let Wijnaldum leave. It's because the medical test and they
Hmm.
knew that his knees were shot and he wasn't going to be able to do anything. So they let him go on a free and he's played how
Hmm.
many games for PSG and Roma? Like
Two.
none.
Two.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the same thing with Mane. That's probably why they let him go. So
But Mane's, he's only 30 years old. He's played some games at Saudi. I've seen. I think he
I
scored a
mean,
couple.
yeah, sure, but like that doesn't mean that you're getting the same level of
Right.
whatever from him. So
Hmm.
and they've done that with other players. Wijnaldum's a good example. They've done that with other players in the past.
Right.
Um, Fabrizio also said Liverpool have been clear with Mo Salah and Al Ittihad, no intention to negotiate. He's not for sale. So
And we'll see. Offer 250 million. We'll see.
yeah, well that's gonna be the plan, I think.
Because even
Um,
Roberto Firmino, they let him go. He's shining in Saudi.
also the level is not as high, right?
Yeah, fair, fair. But he wasn't getting minutes even with Liverpool towards the back end. So there's that too.
Well, that's to the point of how good. And also they're going through a rebuild kind of transition type phase,
Hmm.
and I cannot find for the life of me where I saw that Liverpool was going to buy another midfielder.
Who? I mean, they got Endo, right? I thought that was the last, I think, transfer that went through, I think, for them.
I thought that yeah, it was, but I thought they were looking at somebody else. Maybe I'm just making it up. I don't know. João Cancelo, Gabri Vega. I can't believe he went to Saudi. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Because he's
it's
young.
money, generational wealth. Part of me can't blame him. A lot of people are saying Saudi is ruining football. I don't see it that way. It's just shrewd business decisions. And if it was this way, where I don't remember which player it was. I think it was Oscar from the old Oscar from Brazil when he
Yeah,
went to
yeah.
the Chinese Super League a few years back. And for all that money, they looked at him, and he was saying how he has to look after his family because the players, the owners, they look at the players in much the same way. If they're not producing, they get thrown out and somebody else gets brought in that's better, that'll generate more ticket sales, more money for the players. So why fault the players for going and setting up generational wealth, especially if you're from Brazil or Mexico and you grew up poor and this is the first like real money you come into
Yeah.
secure that
No, of
legacy.
course. I also say though, like if you're at the top of the game, you're gonna end up making that much money anyways at some not to that extent, but
Hmm.
that like he was gonna be making generational wealth anyways at after this next move, after this next contract, regardless of where he went, because he was either
Right.
gonna go to Saudi or he was gonna go to a big club somewhere. I think there are some Premier League teams that were looking at him and some other various I can't find it.
So why do you think
Where
Neymar went to Saudi? He's still got 5 years worth of gas for a top club. Is it strictly money?
I think because none of the big clubs in Europe want to pay the wages for the on his day, he's one of the best players in the world, but too often he's not showing up. No. Like the numbers are good for
Right.
PSG, but they're not great. They haven't gone far in the Champions League, and the wages that he would command would be like you could buy, including the wage pack, right? So the wage package plus the transfer fee, you could
Hmm.
buy two top class players. Like you could buy Soboslai and Gakpo
Right.
for Neymar money, and they're both way younger. Like why would you do that? It just seems
Right.
like a waste of money, I think, for some of those clubs. And then PSG didn't want him anymore, and the only people that can afford him are the um is the Saudi league. So
I mean, it was a
that's what I think.
good bit of business for, they got PSG got 6 years out of him, runners up, in the Champions League and 100 million from Saudi. And so I think Saudi is good. Personally, they helped Chelsea out of a huge financial hole, bought a bunch of our players. So hey,
Yeah, they've been great for a lot of clubs in Europe that have been needing to offload players. And I think also PSG was I think the number that they were going to accept for Neymar was 30 mil
right, and
is what I
they
heard.
got a
And they
hundred
got
million.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think for them they are dancing in the streets for this. It's like we got rid of him and it's fine. And it sucks for the rest of us that wanted to watch him on the biggest stage, but
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, aside from the fact of saying it's a business, but it's also the player, what the player wants to do. And if Neymar wants to go to Saudi and get a private jet and 17 BMWs and a house with a hot tub and whatever, like whatever the other
Right.
stuff was that
Hmm.
was being reported on Instagram, like
Yep.
what just because we wouldn't do it doesn't mean somebody else would.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't know. It is what it is.
Yep.
It sucks for us as the fan, but this is kind of what we were talking about beforehand. Like what the player wants to do is so important, and it's like somebody wants to say, "Hey, do you want to go to Tampa for a trial?" Tampa, like they
Hmm.
need a player in XYZ position, and I'm just like, no, like
Right.
so. Not that I'm the same as Neymar, obviously,
Of course.
but like there's so much with the player. Oh, I didn't know Damari Damari Gray is going to Saudi also. So is
Oh, is it?
Verratti. Yeah, so
Yeah,
is Verratti.
Varane talented, but PSG, they're cleaning house. So I don't.
Also, apparently he still is partying like every day, Verratti.
Yeah. But I mean, Neymar is also on a shorter deal. I think it's a 2-year deal, 3-year deal. So he hopes to come back when he's 33 into top football or even MLS. There's talk of him becoming MLS after Messi leaves. So that could be another big boon for, US soccer and our domestic league as it continues to grow and thrive. So
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, man. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. It's very, 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 very interesting. And that is, man, it's gonna bug me now that I can't. All right, I'm gonna Google Liverpool transfer business because I'm gonna be annoyed if I can't find it.
you do it.
Liverpool.
So as you're doing that, your relegation three, who you got?
I think is it Benjamin Andre? I think that's who it is.
Who's he play for?
Lille. No. He plays in the French league.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can see his FIFA team with a season card in my head. Oh no. This is a different Andre. Who is he? All right, I don't. That's not who I thought that was. Apparently, they're also looking at Czech Ducore, but this Andre guy is a Brazilian player.
hmm
Um, I don't. All right, whatever. Let's see.